All right, get ready to trade your business suit for a diving suit. We're diving deep into the world of construction commercial diving today, a career path that's, let's just say, a tad more adventurous than your average desk job.
That's an understatement. You won't find many office buildings with decompression chambers, that's for sure.
And definitely no coffee breaks at the bottom of the ocean. So, what exactly are we uncovering in these sources you've shared? What does a construction commercial diver actually do all day?
Well, picture this. You're submerged, the current's tugging at you, visibility is maybe an arm's length, uh, and you're tasked with installing a massive hydraulic structure. Or maybe you're meticulously welding sections of an underwater pipeline. That's the kind of work these divers do. They're the underwater architects, the builders, the fixers, even the demolition crew when needed.
Hold on, underwater hydraulic structures. I'm imagining some kind of submerged transformer. That sounds wildly complicated.
It is. We're talking about using the power of water itself to move things like gates, valves, even entire sections of dams. And these aren't your average DIY projects. We're talking massive, heavy-duty equipment that needs to function flawlessly in some of the most unforgiving conditions imaginable.
Okay, so definitely not your average weekend warrior stuff. And I'm guessing it takes more than a pair of swimming trunks and a can-do attitude to qualify for this kind of work.
You're telling me. These sources make it clear we're talking years of specialized training and a whole stack of certifications. First and foremost, you need to be a certified commercial diver, which is no walk in the park. And if welding's part of the job description, well, you'll need underwater welding certification on top of that.
Whoa, underwater welding. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. What kind of training is involved in that?
It's intense. Imagine learning to control a welding arc, not in a well-lit workshop, but in murky water, with currents trying to push you off course. These courses teach you how to handle specialized underwater welding equipment, deal with the unique challenges of working in a pressurized, aquatic environment, and of course ensure each weld is strong enough to withstand the immense pressure and corrosive elements.
Sounds like it takes a special breed to stay calm and focused down there. So it's not just the technical skills they're after. What other certifications are we talking about?
Safety is paramount in this field, so naturally you're looking at first aid and CPR certifications. But beyond that, you've got OSHA certification as well.
OSHA. Now, for those of us who aren't familiar, what does that entail?
OSHA stands for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Their certifications are all about ensuring workplace safety, which is even more critical when your office is, hundreds of feet underwater. These guys set the standards for everything from hazard identification and equipment safety procedures to emergency response protocols. It's all about minimizing the risks in an already high-risk environment.
That makes a lot of sense. You're literally risking your neck down there if you don't know what you're doing. Speaking of risks, what are some of the other challenges that these divers face on a regular basis?
Well, we've already touched on a few of them, but let's delve a little deeper. Imagine working in near-zero visibility, where you rely more on your sense of touch and specialized equipment than your sight. Then factor in the temperature variations. Sometimes it's frigid, other times it's like diving into a warm bath, but not the relaxing kind. And of course, there are always currents to contend with, which can range from gentle nudges to forces that feel like they're trying to carry you away.
Wow, it sounds like you need nerves of steel to be a construction commercial diver. I'm getting claustrophobic just thinking about it.
Not to mention the potential hazards lurking beneath the surface jagged metal edges. Curious marine life? Some of it not so friendly, let me tell you. This career definitely isn't for the faint of heart.
You're telling me it sounds equal parts exhilarating and terrifying, to be honest. But with all those challenges, there must be some serious perks to draw people to this line of work, right?
Yeah.
What do our sources say about that?
Oh, there are definitely some major upsides. For starters, let's talk about the elephant in the decompression chamber, the salary. The research indicates that the median salary for construction commercial divers can be upwards of $80,000 per year.
Okay, now that's the kind of number that makes you sit up and pay attention.
And experienced divers in high-demand areas can earn well into six figures.
You said high demand areas. What are some of those hot spots for underwater construction?
Think coastal regions, lots of infrastructure, ongoing offshore projects. The Gulf Coast, for instance, is booming with activity,
Makes sense.
as are certain areas on the West Coast. Internationally, You've got the North Sea, parts of Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Anywhere they're building bridges, drilling for oil, installing those massive offshore wind farms.
So not only do you get paid handsomely to do this incredible job, but you might get a free trip to some exotic locale out of it too. That's definitely a perk in my book.
Exactly. This isn't your typical 9 to 5 stuck in a cubicle kind of gig. It's a career that demands adaptability, problem-solving skills, and a comfort level with, shall we say, unconventional work environments. You're constantly learning, adapting to new challenges, and using your skills to solve complex problems, all while submerged in the vastness of the ocean.
It's like being a blue-collar astronaut. What other exciting aspects of the job do these sources mention?
Well, beyond the travel and the unique work environment, there's also the potential for advancement. Our research suggests that the field is projected to grow by 5–7% in the coming decade,
So there's definitely a demand for these skills.
which is faster than the average for most occupations, I might add.
What's driving that growth? Besides the allure of a high-paying underwater adventure, of course.
It's a combination of factors, really.
Okay.
There's the constant need for infrastructure maintenance and repair. Bridges, dams, pipelines, they all require upkeep, and that includes the parts we don't see, the ones submerged beneath the surface.
Makes sense. Out of sight, out of mind until something springs a leak, right?
Precisely. And then you've got the expansion of marine industries.
Yeah.
Traditional sectors like oil and gas exploration continue to require skilled divers.
Right.
But perhaps more exciting is the burgeoning field of renewable energy.
Renewable energy, that's a hot topic. What role do construction commercial divers play in that sector?
Think offshore wind farms, tidal energy projects, underwater cable laying for those massive offshore wind farms. These installations require extensive underwater construction and maintenance, and that's where these highly skilled divers come in. They are literally building the infrastructure of the future.
Wow, that's amazing. It's not every job that gives you the chance to say you're helping to build a more sustainable future. Now, you've got me seriously considering a career change, but I have to ask, how does one even get started in a field as specialized as this? It's not like they teach construction commercial diving 101 at your local community college, right?
You're right, it's not your average career path. It takes dedication, a willingness to learn, and maybe a touch of that adventurous spirit we talked about earlier. The most common route, according to our sources, involves a combination of apprenticeships, internships, and, as much as some people might dislike it, good old-fashioned networking.
Apprenticeships and internships, that makes sense. Hands-on experience is crucial in a field like this. But what about the networking aspect? How does that play into a career that often takes place hundreds of feet underwater?
Well, in any skilled trade, who you know can be just as important as what you know. Even underwater, building relationships with experienced divers, contractors, and companies can open doors to opportunities that you might not find otherwise. It's about getting your foot in the proverbial diving boot.
So making those connections is crucial, and I imagine having a strong portfolio or website where you can showcase your skills and certifications would be pretty important too.
Right.
It's like your underwater resume.
Absolutely. Think of it as your underwater resume, highlighting your experience, qualifications, and even photos of past projects you've worked on. It's a way to stand out from the crowd and demonstrate your capabilities to potential employers. A picture is worth 1,000 words, especially when those words are, "I can weld a seam at 200 feet."
So you're saying a killer underwater selfie with a hydraulic structure could be the key to landing my dream diving job?
Well, maybe not a selfie, but you get the idea. It's about presenting yourself professionally and showing that you're passionate and knowledgeable about this line of work.
It sounds like a highly competitive field, but that's to be expected with such a unique and potentially rewarding career. Now, let's say someone has already taken the plunge, so to speak, and is working as a construction commercial diver. What can they do to keep moving up the ranks?
Well, just like in any profession, experience is key. But in the world of construction commercial diving, continuous learning can really make a difference. The industry is constantly evolving, with new technologies and techniques emerging all the time.
Okay, so you're saying even seasoned divers need to stay on top of their game. What does that look like in practice? Are we talking about extra scuba lessons or...
More like specialized training courses.
Okay.
For example, a diver might want to become an expert in underwater welding of specific materials used in deep-sea pipelines, or learn the intricacies of maintaining remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, used for inspections. There's always something new to learn.
So it's about always expanding your skill set and staying ahead of the curve. Are there any specific areas of specialization that divers can focus on to boost their career prospects?
Absolutely. Our research indicates that pipeline installation is a particularly hot area right now. As energy demands grow and pipelines are laid across ocean floors, divers with this expertise will be highly sought after. It's a complex and demanding specialization, requiring meticulous attention to detail and the ability to work with specialized equipment in challenging conditions.
Pipelines, that's a big one. I can only imagine the kind of precision and skill it takes to install those underwater. What other specializations did our sources highlight?
Another booming area is offshore wind turbine maintenance. As we transition to more renewable energy sources, these massive turbines require regular upkeep, and that's where skilled commercial divers come in. They're the ones who go down and make sure everything's running smoothly, replacing worn parts, and conducting inspections to prevent potential problems.
It's incredible to think that these divers are on the front lines of building a more sustainable future, literally laying the groundwork for a greener tomorrow.
Exactly. And it's not just about the hands-on diving work. For those looking to transition to land-based roles, there are options too.
Oh, like what? Trading their diving gear for a comfy office chair?
Some divers eventually move into project management roles, using their experience to oversee complex underwater construction projects. Others go into consulting, providing their expertise to engineering firms or government agencies. And of course, there's always a need for experienced divers to train the next generation, passing on their hard-earned knowledge and passion for this unique field.
So there are multiple paths for career progression, both on land and at sea. It sounds like a field that truly rewards dedication, skill, and a thirst for knowledge, along with a high tolerance for chilly water, of course.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And with the world increasingly looking towards the oceans for resources and energy solutions, I think it's safe to say that the demand for skilled construction commercial divers is only going to grow.
Well, that's our deep dive into the fascinating and surprisingly complex world of construction commercial diving. From installing massive hydraulic structures to welding pipelines and maintaining offshore wind farms, these unsung heroes of the underwater world play a vital role in our present and future. So here's something to ponder as you go about your day. What other surprising and essential careers exist in the hidden depths of our planet, just waiting to be discovered?